ATEEZ is an awesome K-pop group, and one of the biggest reasons they stand out is because of how powerful and exciting their music is. From the moment you hear one of their songs, there's this huge energy that immediately grabs your attention. Their music feels bold, intense, and full of personality, which makes every comeback feel like an event. What makes their songs so strong is how they balance power with emotion. They can deliver hard-hitting tracks with massive energy, but they also know how to slow things down and bring real feeling into their music. That versatility makes their discography feel fresh because you never know exactly what kind of sound they're going to explore next. Their music also has a cinematic feel to it. A lot of their songs sound big, like they belong in a movie or an epic story. The production feels layered and detailed, with strong beats, memorable hooks, and moments that hit hard. On top of that, their performances make the music even stronger. The group is known for bringing incredible energy to the stage, and that makes their songs feel even more powerful when performed live. Their stage presence, choreography, and expressions add another layer that makes the music hit even harder. Overall, this is a group that knows how to make an impact. Their music is exciting, emotional, and full of energy, and that's a huge part of why they've built such a strong fan base and continue to stand out in K-pop. My favorite song from the group would have to be Adrenaline, because it's the kind of song that instantly gets your energy up the second it starts. From the opening beat, it has this fast, exciting pace that makes you feel locked in right away. It doesn't waste time building up slowly. It throws you straight into the action, and that's part of what makes it so fun to listen to. What makes Adrenaline stand out so much is the pure energy behind it. The beat hits hard, the vocals feel sharp and powerful, and the chorus has that explosive feeling that makes you want to sing along or move with it. It's the kind of track that feels built to hype you up, whether you're working out, driving, or just need something to boost your mood. The song also has this non-stop momentum that keeps pushing forward. It never feels slow or dragged out. Every part of it keeps the energy high, which makes it really easy to replay. That's one of the best things about it. Even after hearing it multiple times, it still hits with the same force, and that's why it's my favorite. It captures that rush of excitement perfectly. It's loud, fast, energetic, and full of life. It's the kind of song that makes you feel fired up, and that's exactly what makes it so memorable. The group isn't even from one of the big four companies, and that makes what they've managed to do even more impressive. In K-pop, a lot of attention usually goes straight to groups backed by the biggest agencies because they have more resources, bigger promotion, and stronger connections right from the start. That can make it harder for smaller company groups to break through and get noticed. Despite not having that built-in advantage, the group still found a way to rise and build their own name. That didn't happen by luck. It happened because of their talent, their hard work, and the impact they made with their music and performances. From the beginning, they stood out because they brought something different. Their energy felt huge, their performances felt intense, and their music had a style that people could instantly recognize. They didn't need a massive company name behind them to make people pay attention. They earned that attention on their own. That's what makes their story so exciting. They proved that with enough talent and dedication, you can still compete at the highest level, even in an industry where the biggest companies usually dominate. Their success feels more earned because they had to fight harder for it, and that makes their rise even more satisfying to watch. The group has a great mix of rap talent, vocal talent, and dance, and that balance is one of the biggest reasons they stand out so much. A lot of groups might be strong in one area, but the group feels complete because they bring strength across all three. Their rap line adds a lot of power and intensity to their songs. The delivery feels sharp, confident, and full of energy, which helps give many of their tracks that extra edge. Whether it's a fast verse or a more aggressive section, the rap always feels like it has purpose and helps push the song forward. At the same time, their vocal line brings a lot of emotion and range. They know how to hit powerful notes when the song calls for it, but they can also slow things down and deliver softer, more emotional moments. That balance between strength and feeling gives their music more depth and makes their songs feel more complete. And then there's the dance. Their choreography is one of their strongest weapons. The movements are sharp, intense, and full of energy, matching the power of their music perfectly. Their performances feel alive because of how much effort and precision they put into every move. It's not just dancing, it's part of the storytelling. When you put all of that together, you get a group that feels incredibly balanced. Strong rap, strong vocals, and strong dance all working together at a high level. That kind of complete package is hard to find, and it's a huge part of why the group has made such a strong impact. It's always exciting whenever the group announces a new comeback because you never really know what they're going to bring next. Every release feels like a new chapter, with a different sound, concept, and energy that keeps fans guessing. That unpredictability is a huge part of what makes following them so fun. The build-up alone is enough to get people hyped. The teaser images, the short clips, the concept photos, and all the little hints start creating so much excitement before the music even drops. Fans begin making theories, talking about what the sound might be like, and trying to figure out the story behind the concept. It turns every comeback into an event. And with this group, there's always this feeling that they're going to go all out. They don't just put out songs, they create full experiences. The music, the choreography, the visuals, and the performances all come together to make every comeback feel big and memorable. That's what makes it so exciting. There's always that sense of anticipation, that feeling of wondering how they're going to top themselves this time. And more often than not, they find a way to surprise people and raise the bar even higher.
Sword Art Online, on the other hand, often doesn't come close in terms of consistent storytelling. While the core idea is strong and the premise has a lot of potential, the execution is where many viewers feel the series falls short. A common criticism is that the writing doesn't always feel tightly structured. Certain plot points can feel rushed, while others are stretched out longer than necessary. That uneven pacing can make the story feel less cohesive, especially when compared to series that build their arcs more carefully from start to finish. Character development is another area where the writing is often debated. Some characters have strong moments, but their growth doesn't always feel steady or fully explored over time. That can make it harder for emotional scenes to land as strongly as they should, since the buildup isn't always consistent. There's also the issue of how the story shifts between different arcs and tones. Instead of feeling like one connected journey, it can sometimes feel more like separate ideas stitched together, with varying levels of depth and focus. So even though Sword Art Online has an interesting concept at its core, the writing and execution don't always match the strength of the idea. That gap between potential and delivery is what leads many viewers to feel like it could have been much more consistent and impactful than what it ended up being. The fictional game systems in Sword Art Online don't really hold up well under scrutiny, and that becomes more obvious the longer you think about how the world is supposed to function. Since the entire premise is built around a fully immersive VR MMO, you would expect the game design to feel structured, consistent, and carefully thought out. In a real MMO system, mechanics like progression, combat rules, balance, and player interaction are usually clearly defined so the world feels stable and understandable. In Sword Art Online, that level of consistency often isn't there. Game mechanics are introduced, explained briefly, and then sometimes ignored or changed depending on what the story needs at the time. That makes the world feel less like a functioning game and more like a backdrop that adjusts itself around the plot. The balance and difficulty scaling especially feel uneven. Some threats are treated like they should be overwhelming, while other situations don't seem to follow the same internal logic or level of design care. That inconsistency breaks the sense that this is a properly built, working system. When a story is centered around a game world, the rules are supposed to be one of its strongest foundations. In this case, the lack of clear, consistent systems makes the setting feel less grounded than it should be, which weakens the immersion overall. The characters in Sword Art Online are often criticized for feeling somewhat underdeveloped, especially in terms of personality depth and long-term growth. While many of them are introduced with clear roles in the story, they don't always evolve in ways that make them feel fully layered or consistently written over time. A common point of discussion is that some characters tend to fall into very familiar archetypes without much expansion beyond their initial setup. Instead of feeling like complex individuals with changing motivations and internal conflict, they can sometimes feel more defined by a few key traits that don't develop much as the story progresses. Even when major events happen in the plot, the emotional or psychological impact on certain characters isn't always explored in detail. That can make their reactions feel a bit predictable or surface level, rather than showing deeper internal change that carries across arcs. There are moments where the series does try to highlight emotional relationships or personal struggles, but for some viewers, those moments don't always build into long-term character development that feels consistent or fully realized. So the criticism usually isn't that the characters have no identity at all, but that their writing doesn't always take full advantage of the potential depth their situations could offer. Honestly, Sword Art Online often feels like it moves too quickly to properly establish its setting and characters in a deep or lasting way. The story starts with a strong concept, but it doesn't always take enough time to fully develop the world it's built on or ground the audience in how everything is supposed to function. Because of that, the setting can feel underexplained at times. For a story centered around a fully immersive VR MMO, you would expect more focus on how the game world works, what the rules are, and how players actually interact with it on a deeper level. Instead, a lot of that structure is either briefly introduced or left in the background while the story pushes forward into major events. The same issue can apply to character introductions and development. Many characters are brought into the story quickly, often with clear roles, but not always with enough time spent on building their personalities or relationships in a gradual, detailed way. That can make it harder for emotional moments to land as strongly as they could, since the build-up sometimes feels limited. As a result, the pacing can give the impression that the story is more focused on moving from one big moment to the next rather than slowly developing its world and characters in a fully immersive way. For some viewers, that makes the series feel less grounded and less detailed than its premise suggests it could be. Sword Art Online often feels like it has trouble staying focused on one core idea for long enough to fully develop it. Instead of sticking with a single setup and exploring it in depth, the story moves through different arcs that each introduce new settings, new stakes, and sometimes even new tones. Because of that, the overall structure can feel a bit fragmented. Just when a storyline starts to build momentum or establish its own rules and emotional weight, the narrative shifts into something new. That can make it harder for any one arc to feel fully developed or fully explored before the story moves on. For a series built around a strong central concept like a VR MMO world, some viewers expect a deeper, more consistent exploration of that original setting. But with each arc changing the environment and focus, the story sometimes feels like it resets its foundation rather than expanding on what came before. This approach isn't necessarily confusing, but it can affect how cohesive the overall narrative feels. Instead of one tightly connected journey, it can come across more like a collection of separate storylines that share characters, rather than one fully unified world that evolves over time. So the criticism usually comes down to structure and focus. When a story keeps shifting direction before fully developing its current ideas, it can leave parts of its potential feeling only partially explored. In the hands of a stronger, more consistent writer, Sword Art Online really could have been something special. The core concept alone is incredibly powerful. A fully immersive VR MMO where players are trapped inside a game with real-life consequences. That kind of setup has huge potential for tension, emotional storytelling, and deep exploration of human behavior in a high-stakes environment. What makes the idea so promising is how many directions it could realistically go. You could explore the psychology of survival inside a game world, the politics of player groups forming societies, or the long-term impact of living inside a system where every mistake can be fatal. There's also a lot of room for detailed game design rules, progression systems, and world building that would make the setting feel fully alive and believable. However, when those elements aren't consistently developed or deeply explored, a lot of that potential feels only partially used. Instead of fully digging into the mechanics and consequences of the world, the story often shifts focus between arcs and tones, which can make the experience feel less cohesive than it could be. That's why many viewers look at the premise and see something that feels bigger than what was ultimately delivered. The foundation is strong, but it needed tighter structure, more consistent writing, and a deeper commitment to exploring its own ideas in order to really reach its full potential. Discussions around Sword Art Online can sometimes feel unwelcoming, especially when opinions on the series start to clash. Part of this comes from how divided people are about it. Some viewers strongly defend the show and see it in a very positive light, while others focus more on its flaws in writing, pacing, or structure. When those perspectives meet, conversations can quickly become tense instead of productive. In some spaces, that can make it difficult for people to share criticism without it being dismissed right away, or for fans to express their enjoyment without feeling like they need to justify it. The result is that discussions don't always feel open or balanced. even when that's what people are aiming for. At the same time, this kind of dynamic isn't unique to one series. A lot of popular shows and franchises develop similar patterns online, where strong opinions on both sides make it harder to have calm, nuanced conversations. So rather than being inherently unwelcoming, it's more that the conversation around Sword Art Online can become polarized, which affects how welcoming or open the discussion feels depending on where you're engaging with it. There are several anime that explore similar VR or game-like worlds to Sword Art Online, but they often approach the concept in different ways, especially when it comes to world building and game logic. For example, Log Horizon focuses much more heavily on the structure of the game world itself. It spends a lot of time explaining how the system works, how players adapt to being stuck inside it, and how society begins to form under those conditions. The emphasis is less on individual survival drama and more on how the world functions as a system, which gives it a more strategy-driven and community-focused feel. Overlord takes a different approach by putting the perspective on an overpowered character inside a game world that has become reality. Instead of focusing on escaping or surviving in the traditional sense, it explores power, politics, and control within that setting. The story leans more into world domination and long-term planning, with a stronger focus on how the world reacts to the main character's presence. Compared to these kinds of series, Sword Art Online is often discussed in terms of how it balances its strong emotional hooks and fast-moving story arcs with its world-building and game mechanics. Each of these shows uses the VR/MMO concept in its own way, but they prioritize different aspects of storytelling, whether that's systems, politics, survival, or character-driven drama. Personally, I'd much rather listen to K-pop than watch Sword Art Online. K-pop just feels more engaging to me overall, especially because of how dynamic the music is and how much variety there is between different groups and comebacks. There's always something new to explore, whether it's a fresh concept, a different sound, or a completely new visual style. Keeps things exciting because every release can feel different from the last, and that variety makes it easy to stay interested over time. On the other hand, Sword Art Online is something I find harder to stay engaged with. Even though it has an interesting premise, the way the story is told doesn't always hold my attention in the same way. I tend to prefer media that feels more consistent in its pacing and more detailed in how it builds its world and characters. So for me, it really just comes down to what keeps me more entertained and invested, and K-pop consistently does that in a way that works better for my taste. Let's also take a look at the group's most recent music videos, because every time they drop something new, it feels like a full-scale event rather than just a release. From the start, their music videos usually make a strong impact with bold visuals, dramatic lighting, and a clear concept that sets the tone right away. It's not just about looking good on screen. Everything feels tied to the story and the mood of the song, which helps pull you into the experience immediately. As the video goes on, there's often a lot going on in terms of detail. Quick scene changes, layered symbolism, and carefully planned choreography all work together to keep your attention locked in. It's the kind of video that rewards rewatching, because you notice new things each time. The performance aspect is also a big highlight. The group always brings strong energy to their choreography, and that intensity comes through even more in their music videos. Their movements feel sharp and purposeful, matching the music in a way that makes everything feel more powerful and dynamic. What really stands out overall is how complete the experience feels. It's not just a song with visuals added on top. It feels like a fully built concept where music, performance, and storytelling all connect, which is a big part of why their releases tend to leave such a strong impression.
The Adrenaline music video moves fast, hits hard, and hides more details than you might notice on a first watch. In this breakdown, we're going step by step through the visuals, lyrics, and symbolism to see how the video builds its intense atmosphere and what some of those recurring moments might really be hinting at. The music video begins with the doors of an elevator opening. It's a strong way to start because it feels like we're stepping into a new space. It almost feels like an invitation, like the viewer is being pulled into the story right away. Elevators are often tied to movement and change, so from the first second it hints that something is about to shift. There's also a bit of tension since we don't know what's waiting on the other side. That small moment sets the mood and leads us into the fast energy and confident tone that follows. Lots of extras are running away while the main member walks toward the camera, which creates a strong contrast in the scene. It shows that while everyone else reacts to the chaos around them, he stays focused and grounded, unaffected by what's happening in the background. That difference makes his presence feel more powerful, since he looks calm and in control even when everything else feels unstable. By directing his attention straight toward the camera, it also pulls the viewer into the moment, making it feel more personal and intentional rather than just another action shot. The lines "pull up the bass, up all the way, you know my taste, move out away" come in with a lot of attitude, and they match the energy of the visuals right away. It feels like a statement of control. They're not easing into the song, they're jumping straight into the sound and telling you to turn it up. When they say, "you know my taste," it sounds confident, like they already know the audience understands their style. Then "move out away" shifts the mood into something more bold, like they're clearing space for their presence. It sets up the idea that this isn't just a performance, it's a takeover, and the video starts to move with that same push forward. The lines "I'm ready," "dopamine fully maxed out," make the energy feel intense right away. It sounds like they've already reached that peak moment before anything even starts, like the rush hits first, and everything else follows. When they say, "once I get going, just gonna go straight," it gives the feeling of focus and momentum. There's no pause or second guessing. The line "no therapy" adds a rebellious edge, like the music itself is the release instead of slowing down or reflecting. Then 0 to 100, "bust out the garage" pushes that idea of speed even more. It paints a picture of launching forward without hesitation, almost like stepping on the gas the second the doors open. Finally, "our existence alone is the guarantee" shifts the tone into confidence. It suggests they don't need extra proof or approval because just being there is enough. Altogether, these lines build the image of constant motion and self-belief, which fits the fast pacing and sharp visuals of the video. The lines, "gauge never dropping," keep the focus on steady energy. It gives the feeling that their drive stays high the whole time, like there's no low point once the song starts moving. "Full charge to the max" adds to that image, like they're running on a full battery that never drains. It connects well with the fast cuts and strong performance because everything feels pushed to its highest level. When they say, "hardcore, that's the way we do it," it sounds like a clear statement about their style. They're not trying to soften the mood or hold back. It frames the performance as intense on purpose. Then "no limit, no gimmick, go get it all day" shifts into a mindset of effort and honesty. It suggests they rely on hard work and presence instead of tricks. Together, these lines reinforce the idea that the group moves forward with constant power and confidence, matching the bold pace of the video. The guy is also wearing an eye patch in the scene, which adds a stronger sense of character and mystery to his presence. It shows that he stands apart from everyone else, almost like he carries a story or past experience that isn't fully explained. Visually, the eye patch gives him a more intense and focused look. It can also suggest resilience, since an eye patch often hints at having gone through something difficult and coming out stronger. In the middle of all the chaos, that small detail helps make him feel more powerful and memorable, reinforcing the idea that he remains steady even when everything around him feels unstable. The lines "out of control," "it's getting wild," "speakers going crazy" push the energy even higher and make the moment feel loud and alive. It sounds like everything has crossed a line where there's no holding back anymore. Saying "out of control" doesn't feel negative here. It feels freeing, like they're letting the music take over without limits. "Speakers going crazy" also pulls attention to the sound itself, like you can feel the bass shaking the space around them. It helps the viewer imagine being inside that rush, where the music, the movement, and the crowd all blend into one intense moment. The lines "out of control," "rockets about to blow," "you better tighten up" make the energy feel explosive. Comparing it to a rocket about to launch gives the sense that the pressure has been building this whole time, and now it's reaching its breaking point. There's a warning in it too, like things are moving so fast that you have to brace yourself or get left behind. It keeps that feeling of chaos but turns it into power instead of fear. Drenched in sweat and letting it run brings the moment back to something physical and real. It shows how much effort is being put into the performance, like they're giving everything without caring how it looks. Sweat becomes proof of the intensity rather than something to hide. Together, these lines highlight both the explosive energy and the raw effort behind it, which fits perfectly with the wild movement and non-stop pace of the video. The members are running during the letting it run part, which makes the moment feel very intentional. The movement on screen matches the meaning of the lyrics, turning the words into a visual action instead of just something being sung. Seeing them physically run reinforces the idea of momentum and release, like they're giving in to the rush rather than holding anything back. It helps the scene feel more natural and connected, since the choreography and the lyrics are pushing the same message at the same time. This kind of detail makes the performance more immersive, because the viewer can both hear and see the energy of the line come to life. The lines, "Turn up the heat," "Break in the peaks," and "We're on repeat," keep pushing that sense of rising intensity. "Turn up the heat" feels like a direct command, not just to the music, but to the whole atmosphere of the performance. It suggests they're always raising the pressure, making each moment feel stronger than the last. Then "Break in the peaks" sounds like they're going past limits that were already high, almost like every chorus tries to top the one before it. Saying "We're on repeat" adds the idea that this energy never really fades. It loops back around and keeps building, which matches how the choreography and editing keep cycling through powerful moments without slowing down. During this part, one of the members stands completely still while a car crashes straight toward him at full speed, and he doesn't even flinch. That moment stands out because everything around him feels chaotic, yet he stays calm and steady. It demonstrates a kind of fearlessness, like nothing can shake his focus once he's locked in. The crash becomes less about danger and more about showing how strong their presence is. While the world moves fast and hits hard, he remains grounded, which adds to the image of confidence the song keeps building. It also matches the lyrics about pushing past limits, since his stillness makes him look in control even when everything else feels out of control. He also has a noticeable scar above his eye, and that detail adds another layer to the scene. The scar makes him look battle-tested, as if he's already been through chaos before and survived it. This fits well with the way he stays calm while getting hit by a car. Instead of making him seem weaker, the scar suggests experience and toughness. It quietly supports the idea that he isn't afraid of the danger in the scene, because he's already faced things just as intense, if not more. The lines, "I can feel it go," "Flew shin through my veins," "Start the engine," "Let it roar," bring the focus back to that rush of energy that runs through the whole song. Saying it's moving through their veins makes it sound natural and unstoppable, like the adrenaline is part of who they are rather than something they have to chase. It gives the moment a very physical feeling, almost like you can sense the pulse of the music building from the inside out. Then, "Start the engine," "Let it roar" connects again to the driving and car imagery that show up throughout the video. It feels like a signal that there's no turning back once the momentum starts. The engine roaring suggests power and noise, but also confidence, like they're fully in control of the speed they're moving at. Together, these lines push the idea that the performance is not just loud on the outside, it's fueled by an inner drive that keeps them moving forward. The lines, "I can feel it go," "Running through my veins," "Buzzing up my neck," "Pumping adrenaline," lean even more into that physical rush the song keeps coming back to. It sounds less like a calm build and more like a surge that keeps climbing. Saying it's running through their veins makes the energy feel constant, like it's already part of their system. Then "Buzzing up my neck" adds a more vivid image, like that tingling feeling right before something big happens. It makes the moment feel tense but exciting at the same time. "Pumpin' adrenaline" ties everything back to the main theme of the track. It suggests that the performance is driven by pure intensity rather than just visuals or sound. The lyrics make it easy to picture the movement getting sharper and faster here, as if the music is pushing their bodies forward. It reinforces the idea that the energy never drops, it only keeps rising as the video moves ahead. The lines are then repeated to emphasize the feeling of momentum and intensity that keeps building throughout the song. Repetition here doesn't feel random. It makes the adrenaline theme stick in your head and gives the moment a sense of pressure that keeps rising. Hearing the same words again reinforces the idea that the rush never really stops, it just keeps looping and getting stronger. It also works visually, since repeated lyrics often match repeated movements or similar shots in the video. That connection makes the performance feel more hypnotic, like the energy is cycling back into itself instead of slowing down. By bringing the lines back, the song highlights how central that adrenaline rush is to the overall mood, reminding the viewer that everything we are seeing is driven by that constant surge forward. During this part, cars are falling out of the sky and crashing down onto the ground, which makes the scene feel unreal and intense at the same time. It demonstrates that the world inside the video doesn't follow normal rules. Instead, everything feels pushed to an extreme, matching the idea of adrenaline taking over. The falling cars create a sense of chaos, but it is a controlled kind of chaos that adds to the power of the performance rather than distracting from it. This moment can also be read as a visual way of showing pressure and impact. Cars usually represent speed and movement, so seeing them drop from above makes it feel like that speed has reached a breaking point. It raises the stakes and makes the environment feel dangerous, which highlights how confident the members look while performing around it. Even as everything crashes down, they continue moving forward, reinforcing the theme that nothing slows them down once the energy starts building. It feels like something you would see in a Fast and Furious movie, with the same kind of high-speed energy and larger-than-life action. The way the scene is framed makes everything look intense and cinematic, almost like it belongs in a blockbuster movie rather than a typical performance setting. That comparison helps highlight how the video leans into bold visuals and adrenaline-driven imagery, creating a style that feels closer to an action film than a standard music video. The guy scratches his own arm and sparks appear, which makes the moment feel almost supernatural. It shows that the energy in this world isn't just emotional but physical, like the adrenaline they keep talking about has turned into something visible. It also adds a slightly dangerous edge, suggesting that the intensity they carry can ignite at any moment. Visually, it reinforces the idea that the members aren't affected by the chaos around them in a normal way, but instead seem fueled by it, turning that energy into strength rather than fear. The lines, "Oh, oh, we're pumping adrenaline," feel like a chant that pulls everything together in that moment. The simple, "oh, oh," works almost like a crowd call, something that adds to the hype without needing a lot of words. It makes the scene feel bigger, like the energy is spreading beyond just the members and into the space around them. When the line about pumping adrenaline comes in again, it reinforces the main idea of the song and reminds you that this rush is still building instead of slowing down. The way it's delivered also keeps the momentum going between heavier verses and the next big section, which fits the fast pacing of the visuals. By repeating that adrenaline theme here, the video keeps the focus on intensity and movement, making sure the viewer stays locked into the same high-energy state as the performance. There are also built-in dance breaks during the song, which give the performance space to breathe, while still keeping the energy high. Instead of relying only on the lyrics, these sections let the choreography take the spotlight and show a different side of the group's intensity. The music creates a clear pause in the vocals while the movement carries the momentum forward. These dance breaks also help shape the pacing of the video. They act like checkpoints between the louder sections, giving viewers time to focus on the visuals and formations without losing the fast rhythm of the track. By including them, the video highlights performance as a core part of the story, showing that the adrenaline theme is not just heard through the music but also expressed through sharp, powerful movement. The elevator doors close, and that small moment feels like a reset before the video shifts again. When they open into a different location, it creates the sense that we're moving between separate worlds rather than just changing scenes. Elevators often suggest transition, so this cut makes it feel like the story is progressing to a new stage instead of simply jumping randomly. The change in setting keeps the pacing fresh and gives the viewer something new to focus on, while still carrying over the same fast energy. It also reinforces the idea that the members are constantly moving forward, as if each floor brings a new level of intensity and a new part of their performance. The lines, "Why you trying to be alone? I know you want it. I can see those eyes through the glow that's lit," shift the mood slightly into something more direct and personal. It feels like the focus turns towards someone specific, almost like a conversation happening in the middle of all the chaos. Asking why they're trying to be alone adds a sense of curiosity, while I know you want it comes across confident and a little teasing, like they can read what the other person is really feeling. I can see those eyes through the glow that's lit, suggests that even in movement, there's still a clear connection being made. That contrast between intimacy and high energy helps keep the performance from feeling one note, giving the viewer a brief moment that feels more focused while the adrenaline theme continues underneath. The lines, rationality slipping, can't control it bring back that feeling of being carried away by the moment. It suggests that the adrenaline has reached a point where thinking clearly doesn't matter as much as just feeling everything fully. Instead of fighting the chaos, the lyrics lean into it, almost like losing control is part of the thrill. That idea fits well with the fast pacing and intense visuals, where emotion seems stronger than logic. When they say, "I get you're nervous, guess that's your purpose," the tone feels a little more playful, but still confident. It sounds like they recognize the tension in the other person and use it to build excitement rather than calm it down. The line can also hint at a push and pull dynamic, where nervous energy adds to the atmosphere instead of slowing it down. Altogether, these lyrics highlight that mix of tension and attraction, showing how the rush of adrenaline affects not just the performance, but also the way they connect with others in the scene. The lines, "Gasoline in my blood, I'm set to burn this track," lean heavily into the racing and engine imagery that shows up throughout the song. Saying gasoline is in their blood makes the energy feel natural and constant, like speed and power are part of who they are. Burn This Track sounds both like dominating the performance and like a car speeding at full force, which connects to the visual. Themes of motion and impact. Senses breaking out, speedster, keeps pushing that idea of acceleration. It feels like everything is sharpening at once, as if their awareness is heightened by the adrenaline. The word speedster suggests movement that is fast but also controlled, not just reckless chaos. Then Full Throttle, Burner further closes the section with a strong sense of momentum. It sounds like there's no slowing down, only pushing harder and going farther. Together, these lines reinforce the image of constant forward motion and intensity, matching the way the video keeps raising the stakes with each new scene. The lines, "I can't restrain this feeling piercing through," make the emotion sound intense and impossible to hold back. It feels like the adrenaline has reached a point where it pushes past any limits they might have tried to keep. The word "piercing" gives the moment a sharp edge, suggesting that the rush is strong enough to cut through hesitation or doubt. It keeps the focus on raw feeling instead of control. Drip Pin in the Heat adds a physical layer to the scene, bringing back the image of sweat and effort that shows up throughout the performance. It makes the energy feel real and grounded, not just symbolic. When they say, "I'm high on the ride," it sounds like they're fully absorbed in the motion and excitement, almost like the speed itself becomes addictive. Finally, Pulse Burning Through My Veins ties everything back to the core theme of adrenaline. It gives the impression that the music and their heartbeat are moving at the same pace, reinforcing the non-stop intensity that drives both the choreography and the visuals forward. The pre-chorus and chorus are repeated here, and since we already broke down what the lyrics mean earlier, the focus shifts more toward how that repetition works in the video. Bringing these sections back again helps reinforce the main themes of adrenaline and constant motion. Instead of feeling repetitive in a negative way, it makes the energy feel cyclical, like the rush keeps coming back stronger each time. The repetition also gives the visuals a chance to evolve. Even though the lyrics stay the same, the setting, choreography, or camera work changes, which makes the moment feel familiar but still fresh. It shows how the group builds intensity by layering new images over the same core message. By returning to the pre-chorus and chorus, the video reminds the viewer of the central feeling driving everything while pushing the performance into an even higher gear. The lines, "Hearts explodin', ready to go, no pit stop, no time for the slow," push the sense of urgency even further. Saying the heart is exploding makes the energy feel overwhelming, like the adrenaline has reached a peak where staying still isn't even an option. It paints a picture of someone fully charged and waiting for that exact moment to move, which fits the fast pace the video keeps building. No pit stop, no time for the slow, keeps the racing theme strong and makes it clear that there's no break in the momentum. It suggests that once the performance starts, it keeps moving forward without pauses or resets. The line also reflects the structure of the song itself, since it doesn't slow down and keeps stacking intense moments back to back. Together, these lyrics reinforce the idea that the group is locked into motion, driven by speed and determination from start to finish. The lines, "Burn it all," "This track is my throne," "Push past the limit," "It's over," sound like a final claim of control. Saying "burn it all" doesn't feel destructive in a negative way, but more like clearing everything else out so the performance stands at the center. When they call the track their throne, it frames the stage as a place of power where they feel completely in charge. It gives the moment a confident tone, almost like a declaration that this is their space. "Push past the limit," "It's over," adds a sense of finality. It suggests they've already gone beyond what was expected, and now there is no competition left to catch up. The line carries both intensity and closure, which works well if the visuals here feel bigger or more dramatic. Together, these lyrics highlight the peak of confidence and momentum, making it sound like everything built throughout the video leads into this moment of dominance and release. The line, "Turn that thing up," feels like a direct call to the audience, almost breaking the space between the performers and the viewer. It sounds less like a lyric meant only for the song, and more like an instruction aimed at whoever is watching or listening. By saying this, they pull the audience into the experience, encouraging them to match the same level of energy instead of staying passive. It also reinforces the idea that the music is meant to be felt physically, not just heard in the background. Asking people to turn it up connects with the themes of volume, bass, and adrenaline that show up throughout the track. In the context of the video, this moment can make the performance feel more interactive, as if the group is inviting everyone watching to be part of the same rush and intensity they're showing on screen. The members are dancing in red lighting, which is often used to highlight intensity, danger, or strong emotion. Red tones can make a scene feel warmer and more aggressive at the same time, which fits the adrenaline-driven mood of the song. It also draws attention to the movement of their bodies, since the color makes shadows deeper and the choreography looks sharper on screen. It makes the dance break feel more dramatic and adds to the sense that the performance has reached a heightened state. The lines, "We're lighten up," "We're going crazy," "We fire up," "Hand me my trophy" feel like a victory moment where the energy reaches a confident high point. "We're lighten up" suggests that their presence alone changes the atmosphere, like they bring their own spark into the space. When they say "we're going crazy," it ties back to the earlier themes of losing control in a way that feels exciting rather than chaotic. "We fire up" keeps that image of ignition and power going, like the performance keeps restarting its own energy instead of slowing down. Then "Hand me my trophy" shifts the tone into something more triumphant. It sounds like a claim that the hard work and intensity shown throughout the video deserve recognition. Together, these lines highlight confidence and celebration, making the moment feel like both a climax of effort and a declaration that they have already won through their performance. The lines "Run in it cold," "Blow up the party," "Nowhere to go" carry a more intense and slightly reckless energy. "Run in it cold" can feel like moving forward without hesitation or emotion, like they're fully focused on the momentum rather than slowing down to think. It adds a sharp edge to the performance, showing a level of confidence that feels detached from doubt. "Blow up the party" shifts the scene into something louder and more chaotic, suggesting their presence changes the whole atmosphere the moment they arrive. It sounds less like destruction and more like turning everything up to its highest level. Then "Nowhere to go" gives the moment a feeling of being locked into that energy, as if there is no escape from the rush once it starts. Together, these lines keep the pressure high and reinforce the idea that the performance has reached a point where everything is fully consumed by the adrenaline and intensity. Finally, the last line of the song is "We're pumping adrenaline," and ending on that phrase feels very intentional. It brings the focus back to the core idea that has been repeated throughout the track, like a final reminder of what drives every scene and every movement in the video. Instead of fading out quietly, the song closes on a statement that keeps the energy alive even after the music stops. Because this line has appeared earlier, hearing it at the end gives a sense of completion. It ties the beginning and the ending together, showing that the rush never really disappears. The choice to finish on this lyric also leaves the viewer with a strong aftertaste of intensity, as if the adrenaline is still running even when the screen goes dark. It works like a final pulse that sums up the whole mood of the video. The elevator doors close right before the credits, which brings the video back to the same image it started with. That visual creates a sense of closure, like the journey has come full circle. Just as the opening doors felt like an entrance into a new space, the closing doors now feel like the end of that ride. It suggests that everything we just watched was part of one intense level or moment that has now come to a stop. Ending on the elevator also keeps the theme of movement and transition present even in the final seconds. Instead of a dramatic fade-out, the video chooses a simple action that quietly signals the performance is over. It leaves the viewer with a calm but clear ending, as if the adrenaline has finally settled while the story closes itself off behind those doors. The credits reveal that AI was used for this music video, which highlights how common these kinds of tools are becoming in K-pop production. Instead of replacing the artists or the creative team, AI is often used to enhance visuals, create effects that would be difficult to film in real life, or help shape the overall atmosphere of a scene. In a video like this, where there are surreal moments such as falling cars, it makes sense that advanced digital techniques would play a role. This also reflects a wider trend in the industry, where technology and performance continue to blend together to create more immersive experiences. As concepts grow more complex, teams look for new ways to push visual storytelling further while still keeping the focus on the members and their performance. Seeing AI listed in the credits shows how production methods are evolving and how modern K-pop videos often combine traditional filming with digital innovation to achieve their final look. Visual effects artists were still employed on this project, so it's not accurate to think the whole video was AI generated. The presence of a full VFX team shows that human artists were still responsible for designing, refining, and integrating many of the complex visuals seen throughout the video. Effects like compositing, lighting adjustments, and detailed animation usually require skilled professionals who shape the final look by hand, even when advanced tools are involved. This highlights how AI is often just one part of a much larger production process rather than a replacement for creative work. The artists help make sure the visuals feel cohesive with the choreography, storytelling, and overall concept. Knowing that both technology and human creators were involved can change how the video is viewed, since it reflects a collaboration between digital innovation and traditional visual effects craftsmanship. The director of this music video has also directed many other music videos, which helps explain how polished and confident the final result feels. Having experience across multiple projects allows a director to develop a clear visual style and understand how to match strong concepts with music and performance. That background often shows in how smoothly scenes transition and how well the visuals stay aligned with the song's energy. When a director has worked on a wide range of music videos, they are usually better at handling complex shoots and layered storytelling like the one seen here. It also suggests a level of trust from artists and companies, since directors with proven work are often chosen for ambitious projects. Knowing this adds context to the video, as it shows that the intense visuals and clear direction come from someone with a strong understanding of the genre and its demands. After the credits, the elevator doors open again, but this time they reveal a glowing red cube, which immediately changes the mood. Instead of feeling like a simple ending, it creates a sense that the story isn't fully finished yet. The red glow makes the object stand out as something important, almost like a symbol rather than just a prop. When the cube morphs into a crystal and then explodes, it adds a mysterious and dramatic twist that leaves room for interpretation. This moment could be read as a tease for what's coming next. The transformation from cube to crystal suggests change or evolution, like something is breaking into a new form. The explosion does not feel like destruction alone, but more like a release of energy, which ties back to the adrenaline theme that runs through the whole video. By placing this scene after the credits, the video hints that there may be another chapter or continuation, giving viewers one last image that keeps their curiosity active even after the main story seems to end. One of the members was also holding a red cube earlier in the music video, so this final scene can feel like a direct callback to that moment. Bringing the cube back at the end gives it more meaning, like it's been quietly important the whole time. When an object appears more than once, it usually suggests there is a connection or a hidden thread linking different parts of the story together. Because we already saw the cube in someone's hands, its return after the credits can make the viewer rethink that earlier scene. It might represent a source of energy, a symbol of power, or even a key to whatever world the elevator leads to. The way it changes into a crystal and explodes could show that something has finally reached its final stage, as if the build-up throughout the video has led to this release. Tying the ending back to an earlier visual helps the video feel more connected, while still leaving enough mystery for people to wonder what it means for the next chapter. The red cube also appeared on the digital cover poster for one of the group's previous extended plays, which makes its presence in the video feel more intentional. By bringing back a symbol that fans may already recognize, the video creates a sense of continuity between different eras of their music. It suggests that the cube is tied to a larger storyline or a recurring theme that carries across releases. Referencing earlier visuals like this can make the world of the group feel more connected, almost like each comeback adds another piece to an ongoing narrative. For viewers who notice the detail, it adds an extra layer of meaning, since the cube's transformation in this video could hint at growth or a new phase compared to how it appeared before. Even for casual viewers, the repeated symbol helps strengthen the identity of the visuals and makes the ending feel more significant. Additionally, there were red cube props placed throughout some of the scenes, which further reinforces how important that symbol is within the video's visual language. By repeating the cube in different settings, the video keeps reminding the viewer of its presence without always drawing direct attention to it. This kind of subtle repetition helps build a sense of connection between moments that might otherwise feel separate. Including the props also makes the world feel more cohesive, since the same shape and color appear across multiple shots instead of only in the ending scene. It suggests that the cube represents an ongoing source of energy or influence that exists around the members at all times. Even when it sits quietly in the background, it adds to the idea that there's a larger story unfolding beneath the performance. There's a moment when the cube transforms into a metallic-looking object, and it gives off a mechanical, almost otherworldly vibe. Visually, the texture and structure can remind viewers of powerful sci-fi artifacts, and it kind of resembles the Allspark from the first Transformers film, which adds to that futuristic feeling without needing any direct explanation in the story. That comparison also helps emphasize how important the object seems within the video's world. Instead of just being a simple prop, the metallic form suggests a source of energy or transformation that drives the events around it. By changing its appearance at this point in the video, the cube feels more active and alive, hinting that it plays a bigger role in the narrative than what is shown on the surface. It's pretty funny how the music video ended up being exactly 4 minutes and 20 seconds long, since 420 is widely recognized online as a number people often associate with internet culture and certain jokes. Even if the timing wasn't planned on purpose, it still stands out as a small detail viewers might notice when they check the runtime. Moments like that can add a bit of humor to the discussion around the video, especially for fans who enjoy pointing out coincidences and hidden quirks that make the release feel more memorable. The music video was produced by KQ Entertainment, and the Q in their logo is styled like an omega symbol, which gives the branding a more symbolic and distinctive look. The omega shape is often linked with ideas of completion or something final, so using it in the company's identity can make the logo feel more intentional than just a simple letter. Even if viewers don't immediately notice the design choice, it helps create a visual signature that stands out across their artists' releases. Details like this show how branding and imagery play a role not just in the music videos themselves, but also in how the company presents its overall identity. Also, for people who have played the MMORPG RuneScape before, they might jokingly think KQ stands for Calfight Queen, since that abbreviation is commonly used by players when talking about the boss. It's one of those funny overlaps where the same letters mean something completely different depending on the community you're part of. For longtime gamers, that connection might pop into their head right away, even though in this context it obviously refers to KQ Entertainment. Little coincidences like that can add a bit of humor to the discussion, especially for viewers who recognize both the gaming reference and the K-pop industry at the same time. And that wraps up the analysis for this music video. What did you think about it overall, and which moments stood out the most to you? There were a lot of strong visuals and recurring themes, from the elevator transitions to the adrenaline-driven lyrics and the mysterious red cube at the end. So it would be interesting to hear how you interpreted those scenes and whether any parts of the video changed your perspective as it went on. What did you think of the song and the music video overall? Personally, I thought it was pretty great. The song is catchy right from the start, and the energy stays consistent all the way through without feeling repetitive. The music video also fits the track really well, matching the intensity of the sound with strong visuals and fast pacing. Nothing feels out of place, and the performance blends naturally with the concept, which helps the whole experience feel cohesive from beginning to end. Which K-pop music video should be analyzed next? Leave your suggestions in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more deep dives like this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
The lines drop the tools. Thump. I'm here, eyes on me, look. Pickin' today's loop. Imma show 'em. Call me Houdini. Convey confidence, control, and a sense of performance. Drop the tools. Thump. Gives a rhythmic, almost percussive feel, as if signaling the start of something powerful or drawing attention. It suggests readiness and authority, like the speaker is stepping into the spotlight and setting the stage. I'm here, eyes on me, look, emphasizes visibility and presence. The speaker is aware of being watched and commands attention, asserting dominance in both the literal and metaphorical space. Pickin' today's loop hints at creativity and skill, as if they are taking control of the moment or manipulating the current situation to their advantage. Looping, remixing, or performing in a way that keeps the audience engaged. Finally, Imma show 'em, call me Houdini, ties it all together with a reference to Harry Houdini, a famous magician and escape artist from the early 20th century, known for performing seemingly impossible escapes from handcuffs, chains, and locked boxes. Calling himself Houdini emphasizes skill, showmanship, and the ability to amaze or outsmart everyone watching. In the context of the song, these lyrics reflect confidence and charisma, showing the members asserting themselves, taking control of their craft, and dazzling both the audience and anyone trying to challenge them. It's about presence, skill, and the power of performance. The guy also jumps and lands on the ground during the thump part, and this moment adds a striking visual punch that matches the rhythm and intensity of the lyrics. The jump emphasizes physicality and energy, making the beat feel more impactful while drawing the viewer's eyes directly to his movement. It also reinforces the sense of power and presence established earlier in the lines, showing that the performance isn't just verbal, it's embodied. The landing acts like a visual exclamation point, punctuating the thump with force and precision. In the context of the music video, this move helps convey dominance, confidence, and showmanship, highlighting the way the members use both choreography and timing to command attention and amplify the song's high-energy, unstoppable vibe. The lines, I enchant their mind. I ain't never stop. Sweep it all up, get 'em all cost, go. Go crazy, whoa, you know it. Keep scanning that barcode, convey energy, dominance, and relentless focus. I enchant their mind suggests influence and charisma, showing that the speaker captivates everyone around them and draws attention effortlessly. It emphasizes the power of presence and performance, as if their skills or persona are impossible to ignore. I ain't never stop highlights determination and persistence, signaling that they're constantly pushing forward, working hard, and refusing to pause no matter the challenge. Sweep it all up, get 'em all cost, go reinforces this relentless drive, implying that they aim to take everything in their path, success, attention, and impact without hesitation. Go crazy, whoa, you know it, introduces a playful, high-energy call, inviting the audience to match their intensity and excitement. Keep scanning that barcode adds a modern, almost technological metaphor, suggesting precision, awareness, and strategy, as if they're analyzing every detail and exploiting opportunities deliberately. Altogether, these lines portray someone who's confident, unstoppable, and fully in command, mixing charisma, strategy, and raw energy to dominate both the scene and the audience's attention. The lines pull up with them, bring my things. I don't accept no hotline bling. Giwing owing heeches. Tie all bands Imma. Convey confidence, independence, and dominance in both lifestyle and skill. Pull up with M. Bring my things suggests arriving fully prepared and in control, showing that the speaker sets the tone and brings their own energy wherever they go. It conveys readiness, presence, and influence over the environment. I don't accept no hotline bling references ignoring distractions or outside interference, emphasizing self-reliance and focus. The line shows that the speaker is selective about what attention or communication they entertain, reinforcing their independence and authority. Hotline Bling is also a song by Drake, released in 2015, and it became famous for its catchy hook, distinctive beat, and viral music video. The song is about missed connections, late-night calls, and feeling frustrated over someone drifting away emotionally. Referencing Hotline Bling in a lyric adds an extra layer of meaning. By saying, "I don't accept no hotline bling," the speaker signals that they're uninterested in distractions, superficial attention, or emotional drama, contrasting their focused, confident, and self-sufficient mindset with the themes of longing and dependence in Drake's song. It's a clever pop culture nod that also reinforces independence and control in the context of the music video. Kill 'Em All 'Em Hits conveys mastery and impact, suggesting that everything they do, whether performance, music, or actions, lands with full force and dominates the scene. Tai 'Em All 'Em Bands Imma continues this theme, connecting success and accumulation of wealth or recognition with skill and power. Together, these lines communicate control, ambition, and confidence, portraying someone who is unstoppable, focused, and fully aware of their influence over both people and situations. The lines 808 so deep they gon' fracture ribs. Top it off with some meat. Cook up a special meal. Combine imagery of sound, impact, and creativity to convey power and artistry. 808 so deep they gon' fracture ribs highlights the physical intensity of the music, referring to the deep 808 drum sounds in modern hip-hop and pop production. It's a metaphor for how forceful and overwhelming their sound is. So strong it feels almost tangible, hitting the listener with real weight. Top it off with some meat introduces a playful culinary metaphor, suggesting substance and richness. It emphasizes that their work isn't just flashy or loud. It has layers, flavor, and depth. Cook up a special meal continues the metaphor, implying creativity, careful crafting, and presentation, as if they're designing a complete experience for the audience to enjoy. Taken together, these lines showcase both technical skill and artistry. They communicate that the member's music hits hard, captivates attention, and is carefully crafted like a signature dish, powerful, satisfying, and impossible to ignore. The lines "I spit 'em, gold and silver" create that masterpiece. "My worth don't change. It's till I rest in peace" emphasize confidence, artistry, and enduring value. "I spit 'em, gold and silver" suggests that every verse or line delivered is precious, high quality, and valuable, comparable to precious metals. It conveys pride in skill and performance, framing the speaker's talent as both rare and exceptional. "Create that masterpiece" reinforces the idea of intentional craftsmanship. Each lyric, beat, or performance is treated as art, carefully constructed rather than thrown together. It highlights creativity, dedication, and the desire to leave something lasting for the audience. "My worth don't change" asserts stability and self-assurance, signaling that external factors, fame, criticism, or trends, cannot diminish their value or skill. "It's till I rest in peace" extends this idea to legacy, implying that their contributions, talent, and impact will endure beyond their lifetime. Together, these lines convey a mix of pride, artistry, and permanence. They show that the speaker not only commands attention in the moment, but also seeks to leave a lasting mark, crafting work that's both valuable and timeless. The lines "Turn up, I fly so higher than the sky, we go all the way to space going up" amplify the themes of ambition and elevation. "Turn up immediately" raises the energy, signaling intensity and momentum. It sets the tone for expansion, both musically and metaphorically, as if the performance is about to reach another level. I fly so higher than the sky pushes that idea further. Flying higher than the sky suggests surpassing limits and expectations. It is not just about success, but about transcending boundaries that normally define what is possible. The imagery positions the speaker above constraints, operating on a different level from everyone else. We go all the way to space. Going up connects directly to the overarching space motif. Space represents the ultimate frontier, something vast, unknown, and limitless. Saying they are going all the way there emphasizes ambition without ceiling. It reinforces the idea of constant upward motion, growth, and progress. Together, these lines communicate confidence, aspiration, and the drive to rise beyond ordinary limits, aligning perfectly with a theme of exploration and pushing into uncharted territory. The chorus begins with a bold declaration of ambition. The lines shoot for the stars like NASA, always going up like my stack. Ready on your mark, go faster. Shoot for the stars like NASA. Bring the central theme into full focus. Shoot for the stars like NASA directly references space exploration as a metaphor for aiming high and refusing to settle. NASA represents innovation, ambition, and pushing beyond Earth's limits. So comparing themselves to that level of pursuit reinforces the idea of relentless aspiration. Always going up like my stack connects success with accumulation, whether that means achievements, recognition, or wealth. The word stack implies growth and elevation, reinforcing the upward trajectory introduced earlier. It emphasizes that their progress is consistent and ongoing, not temporary. Ready on your mark, go faster adds urgency and competitiveness. It evokes the start of a race, suggesting that they are prepared, focused, and quick to take off. The phrasing mirrors acceleration, matching the high-energy delivery of the chorus. Repeating shoot for the stars like NASA anchors the hook and solidifies the message. The chorus as a whole is about ambition without limits, forward motion, and rising beyond expectations. It transforms space imagery into a symbol of drive, confidence, and unstoppable momentum. The lines eyes on the ball, no pasta. Rooting for my fall, yeah, I catch that. Dough going up like a half stack, continue the competitive and success-driven imagery while layering in wordplay. Eyes on the ball, no pasta plays on focus and discipline. Keeping your eyes on the ball suggests staying locked in on the goal, like an athlete refusing distraction. The no pasta line is a pun, separating ball from meatballs and pasta. But symbolically, it reinforces that this isn't about comfort or indulgence. It's about precision and determination. The message is clear. No distractions, no slipping up. Rooting for my fall, yeah, I catch that, acknowledges the presence of critics or people waiting for failure. Instead of being unaware, the speaker recognizes the negativity. I catch that suggests awareness and anticipation, almost like catching a thrown object before it hits. It implies readiness for opposition and the ability to handle it without being thrown off balance. Dough going up like a half stack continues the upward momentum theme. Dough commonly refers to money, and going up reinforces financial or career growth. The comparison to a half stack can reference stack speakers or layered items, again emphasizing height and increase. The imagery ties back to the repeated idea of elevation, accumulation, and rising higher despite pressure. Together, these lines blend sports metaphors, food wordplay, and financial imagery to reinforce focus, resilience, and steady upward growth. The lines going up high, hell yeah. Nothing is set. No limits, yeah, reinforce the song's core message of elevation and freedom from constraints. Going up high continues the recurring upward imagery that runs throughout the track. It's not just about physical height, but about status, ambition, and achievement. The addition of hell yeah injects confidence and certainty. It's not hesitant or hopeful. It's declarative. The tone suggests that rising higher isn't a possibility. It's an expectation. Nothing is set, no limits, yeah, shifts the focus to mindset. If nothing is set, then nothing is predetermined. There are no fixed ceilings or boundaries dictating how far they can go. This line rejects limitations imposed by circumstance, industry standards, or outside opinions. It frames success as open-ended and self-defined. Together, these lines emphasize boundless ambition. The upward motion is constant, and the lack of limits reinforces the idea that their trajectory is still expanding. It positions their growth as ongoing, unrestricted, and driven entirely by their own belief in how far they can reach. The lines straight for the sky, shoot for the stars like NASA, always going up like my stack, ready on your mark, go fasta. Shoot for the stars like NASA reinforce the central theme of direct, unstoppable ambition. Straight for the sky emphasizes clarity and intention. There's no hesitation or sideways movement. The direction is vertical and focused, symbolizing goals that are high, distant, and unapologetically bold. The repeated lines about shooting for the stars, going up like a stack, and racing forward echo the ideas we've already gone over, highlighting elevation, growth, and competitive drive. By revisiting them here, the chorus strengthens its message and turns it into a confident statement of identity. The line's irony, ain't it? I'm a star, but still firing that rocket. Everybody watch your heads. We out here just fire-spitting, blend confidence with layered imagery. Irony, ain't it? I'm a star, but still firing that rocket plays with the idea of already having achieved star status while still striving for more. If a star symbolizes fame or success, then firing a rocket suggests the journey upward is still in motion. The irony lies in the fact that even after reaching a high level, the ambition doesn't stop. They're not satisfied with simply being recognized. They're still launching themselves further. Everybody watch your heads shifts the tone into something more forceful. Sounds like a warning. It suggests impact, like something powerful is coming down or bursting through. This line positions their presence as disruptive and impossible to ignore. We out here just fire-spitting leans into hip-hop imagery. Spitting fire refers to delivering intense, sharp lyrics. Fire symbolizes passion, aggression, and heat. Together, these lines frame them as artists who are already stars yet continue to push harder, delivering explosive energy and commanding attention wherever they go. The lines Imma hide, NASA, the universe is me casa. An alien passing by with the world as my stage. That's me. Expand the space concept into something more personal and larger than life. The universe is mi casa blends English and Spanish, with mi casa meaning my house. By claiming the entire universe as home, the lyric suggests complete ownership of the space they operate in. It's not just about reaching the stars anymore. It's about belonging there. The scale shifts from aiming high to already existing comfortably on a cosmic level. Referring to themselves as an alien passing by reinforces the idea of being different or otherworldly. An alien stands out, unfamiliar and unique. It suggests that their talent or presence feels beyond normal standards, almost unexplainable. At the same time, passing by implies movement and momentum, as if they're traveling through this world temporarily, not confined to it. With the world as my stage grounds that cosmic imagery back into performance. No matter how expansive the universe metaphor becomes, the focus remains on artistry. The entire planet becomes a platform for expression. Ending with "that's me" makes it a direct declaration of identity. It's confident and self-defining, presenting someone who sees no limits to their reach, scale, or influence. The lines "it's scary how my life's turning red like apple stock. Peak and plunge, the little guys fall prey to Wall Street" introduce financial imagery to describe instability and pressure. Turning red like apple stock references how stock prices are often shown in red when they drop. Comparing life to a falling stock suggests volatility, unpredictability, and public scrutiny. Apple is one of the biggest companies in the world, so invoking it amplifies the scale. Even something massive and powerful can fluctuate. The word "scary" acknowledges that rapid change, whether success or decline, can feel overwhelming. Peak and plunge captures the dramatic highs and lows of both the market and personal experience. It reflects a cycle of rising to the top and then dropping suddenly. This mirrors fame, competition, or ambition, where momentum can shift quickly. The little guys fall prey to Wall Street adds a critical tone. Wall Street represents large financial institutions and market power. The little guys symbolize individuals or underdogs who are vulnerable within larger systems. This line can be read as commentary on how competitive industries can exploit or overshadow smaller players. Within the context of the song, it reinforces awareness of risk while still positioning themselves as navigating that volatility rather than being consumed by it. The lines collecting stars, add M, subtract M, and make M fall cold collector. Even my downfalls by design. I'm a creator. That's right, my worth is different. Convey control, creativity, and self-awareness. Collecting stars, add M, subtract M, and make M fall cold collector. Uses celestial imagery to show mastery over achievement and influence. Stars can represent success, attention, or accolades, and the act of adding or subtracting them implies deliberate control, deciding when to shine, when to step back, and how to manage impact. Calling themselves a cold collector emphasizes precision, calculated action, and emotional detachment in navigating this power. Even my downfalls by design highlights intentionality and strategic thinking. It suggests that any setbacks or challenges they experience are part of a larger plan, not accidents or failures. This line reinforces the idea that they remain in control even when things seem to go wrong. I'm a creator. That's right, my worth is different ties it together, asserting identity and value. Being a creator means shaping one's path and legacy rather than passively reacting to circumstances. Declaring that their worth is different signals confidence and individuality, emphasizing that their influence, talent, and accomplishments cannot be measured by conventional standards. These lines portray someone who commands their universe, both literally and metaphorically, with intention, creativity, and unshakable self-assurance. Here, the pre-chorus and chorus are repeated, reinforcing the song's central themes of ambition, elevation, and relentless drive. Even though we've already broken down the lyrics and their meaning, the repetition paired with new visuals helps to emphasize the energy, confidence, and momentum of the members. The music video uses this section to heighten intensity, showcase choreography, and visually reflect the upward motion and cosmic imagery, making the repeated lines feel even more powerful and dynamic. It's a moment that solidifies the mantra-like quality of the chorus, turning ambition and drive into a statement that carries both sound and visual impact. The lines every night, I make it rain, pouring money and fame. I want it more and more emphasize ambition, indulgence, and the relentless pursuit of success. Make it rain is a vivid metaphor often used to describe throwing money freely, but here it also suggests abundance and influence, showing that the speaker not only accumulates wealth but also commands attention and power. Pouring money and fame extends that image, linking material success with public recognition. It highlights that their achievements are both tangible and symbolic, representing status, skill, and visibility in their world. I want it more and more adds a layer of hunger and drive. It shows that even with wealth, recognition, and accomplishments, satisfaction is never complete. The line reflects a constant striving for growth and elevation, tying back to the recurring themes of ambition, upward momentum, and pushing past limits. Together, these lines convey a persona that is confident, unstoppable, and always reaching for the next level. The lines, the night's heating up. Just keep it going, yeah. Till the morning comes. Round and round, capture a sense of energy, momentum, and continuous movement. The night's heating up sets the scene, signaling rising intensity, excitement, and action. It conveys that the moment is reaching its peak, both emotionally and visually. Just keep it going, yeah, emphasizes persistence and stamina, encouraging the momentum to continue without pause. It suggests that the energy isn't fleeting. It's deliberate and sustained, creating a sense of immersion for both the performers and the audience. Till the morning comes, round and round, introduces a cyclical feeling, implying that this drive, excitement, and ambition are ongoing. The repetition and circular imagery evoke endurance, continuity, and living fully in the moment, whether that's in the context of celebration, performance, or chasing goals. Together, These lines highlight vitality, persistence, and the unstoppable rhythm of their journey, reinforcing the high-energy, ambitious tone of the song. The song ends with an instrumental instead of lyrics, creating space for a built-in dance break. This allows the members to showcase their choreography without being tied to the vocal line, highlighting their performance skills and stage presence. The absence of lyrics shifts the focus entirely to movement, energy, and visual storytelling, letting the music and rhythm drive the scene. It also gives the audience a moment to absorb the intensity of the song while enjoying dynamic formations, transitions, and synchronized steps, making the ending feel powerful, cinematic, and memorable. And that wraps up the breakdown for the NASA music video. Overall, the song is about ambition, drive, and pushing beyond limits, both personal and professional. It blends high-energy performance, clever wordplay, and cosmic imagery to convey a sense of unstoppable momentum. The music video reinforces these themes through bold visuals, dynamic choreography, and cinematic details, creating a story of confidence, skill, and constant upward motion. Between the lyrics, symbolism, and striking aesthetics, NASA captures the excitement of striving for greatness while highlighting the individuality and creativity of the members. The official NASA page on social media even gave the song a shout-out, referencing some of the lyrics directly. This moment feels like the project coming full circle. What began as a metaphorical nod to space and exploration in the song has now been acknowledged by the real-life organization. It bridges the world of music and pop culture with actual science and space exploration, adding an extra layer of recognition and relevance. The shout-out also highlights the impact and reach of the song, showing that the imagery and themes resonated far beyond just fans, connecting the music to a real-world institution that inspired part of its concept.